Start this half hour with the latest on an investigation into the death of a veteran sergeant in the Genesee County Sheriff's Department. 54-year-old Sergeant Thomas Sanfrantello died in the line of duty over the weekend at Batavia Downs in Batavia. That's according to police. And the sergeant and casino security, they were called to an altercation inside the casino at the bar area. And while escorting two patrons involved, one of them attacked the sergeant. He became unresponsive during the attack, and he died. Joining me in studio is legal analyst Paul Cambria. Thanks for joining us on the 5:30 today. This is just a sad story, no matter how you look at it. When a law enforcer suffers a medical emergency of what we just saw here, how can the party involved be charged with that death?
Well, the way it works, they've charged him here with aggravated manslaughter in the first degree. And basically what that requires is that a person intentionally cause an act that results in death of a police officer who they knew was a police officer, should have known, and the police officer was performing their duty. That's all that's required. And the reason for that is to try to deter people from, assaulting police and peace officers.
Investigators have already called this a very messy situation when you look at it, because they were saying that the sergeant may have pulled out his taser. Maybe that's what turned on him. If that happens to be the case, could this change how this case is being charged against these two individuals, especially the one?
Yeah. No, I don't think it changes, because it resulted in death. It resulted in intentional actions on the part of the individual, and for whatever reason, he died. You take people as you find them. Victims are taken as they're found. If they have medical issues or so on, you're stuck with that if you're a person committing a crime. So here, whatever it is, as long as the original activities were intentional, death resulted, and there's a police officer, and you should have known it was a police officer, you did know, that's it. That's this offense.
That's very interesting. So even if this law enforcer had some type of medical condition, it doesn't matter?
No.
Wow. I don't think people
And even
know
if
that.
he tased himself, it wouldn't matter, because the chain of events started with the person charged. It was intentional, etc.
Is this a case that you've seen? Have you seen anything like this before?
Well, I have seen cases involving the death of police officers where it's been, the same charge of manslaughter. But we don't see too many of those cases. Usually it's an assault case, or it's aggravated assault, which also is a charge here, aggravated assault. So what he's facing is 25 years. That's the maximum on this charge. Aggravated assault is the same thing. You commit the acts, but you use a weapon of some kind. And here they've also charged him with that. I don't know what the weapon is, unless they turn the taser on the officer. That could be the weapon.
This is going to be interesting for the prosecutors and the defense, don't you think, in this case?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very difficult to find a jury in that community regarding, it's very difficult when police officers suffer injuries or death. It's very, very tough to find jurors that will, be able to say, oh, well, I can still be fair. It's difficult.
What about Batavia Downs? Any liability there?
I wouldn't think so. There didn't seem to be. It looked like, and from what I read, that their security people joined in, even patrons joined in,
right,
to try to split this up. They apparently overwhelmed this police officer, and unfortunately he died.
This is a really unfortunate situation for Batavia Downs, for the Genesee County Sheriff's Department, for law enforcement as a whole. Paul Cambria, thank you so much for your time and helping us to understand this, because I think that was the big question here, whether or not, if there was a medical condition, could these people still be charged with this?
Take them as you find them.
You heard Paul Cambria tell us all about it. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.